Cool. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Glen Biggs, and welcome to Arts in the View. This is a quarterly newsletter that we do by Arts Bellevue, which is a local arts community organization located here in beautiful and dynamic Bellevue, Tennessee. If you need more information about our organization and what we do, please feel free to go to our website, which is at www.artsbellevue.org. You'll see that also probably on all of our stuff that you'll be getting through social media and etc. And today we are sitting with Chef Paulette Lecitra. Am I saying that correctly, Paulette?
Yes.
I'm always like ready to roll my R when I do that, or do I not? Which is you're going to find is a very engaging and wonderful person and does so many things. So we're really glad to have Paulette as now a part of the Arts Bellevue family. So just to give you a little introduction, I want to read this. Paulette is a New York native and a Nashville transplant. She's been teaching Italian cooking in Nashville since around 2009. Leads small groups to Italy every year. I'm going on the next trip as soon as if I could possibly pull that off, to cook and explore regional cuisines. How exquisite is that? Paulette completed her professional culinary studies at the Institute of Culinary Education in New York City and worked at Mario Batali's Lupa restaurant. Her writing has also appeared in New York Times, Chicago Tribune, and many other publications. I'd also like to mention that Chef Paulette was the guest chef and instructor for Arts Bellevue's very first Viewmaster culinary experience, which is a series of workshops that we did this year, which were partially funded by the Tennessee Arts Commission. This was hosted at Bellevue's beautiful Green Door Gourmet, which is located on River Road. Go by and visit sometime soon. Welcome, Paulette. Glad to have you with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
It's an honor.
Well, it was such a fun time being with you at the Green Door, so
I'm glad.
we wanted to extend and keep talking because we had
Okay.
some great conversations there.
Good.
Of course, the more I read about you, the more intrigued I become about you and all the things that you do and explore and live. And so, tell me a little bit about yourself and how did you get from New York to Nashville?
Yeah, well, that really was like a family thing because I was in New York City. I was living there for like 30 years, and my parents and my sister were living in Las Vegas, Nevada. And so we always had this big country dividing us. And then in 2007, my dad passed away, and my aunt and my cousin were living here because my cousin's husband worked for the car industry. So they were, big cheerleaders for Middle Tennessee and Nashville and Franklin, and so they kind of convinced my mom and sister to move here so they wouldn't be alone out there. And then I felt like, well, I'm tired of being really far away from my family, so I'm going to leave New York and I'm coming down here too. And that's how I got here.
And here you are.
And here I am. And I was doing the kind of work at the time that I could kind of do anywhere. I didn't have to be in a certain place,
Okay.
which was before I really, okay, well, long story. I have a lot of intertwined careers. Okay? Cooking and teaching cooking is probably like maybe my fifth career. So I was doing that in New York, teaching at a kitchen studio in Midtown, Italian cooking with another Italian chef. But I was also writing museum audio tours. So I was doing two things. I'll stop there.
Museum audio tours.
Yes.
That could be interesting, right?
Yes.
You also mentioned in your bio about the Nashville chapter of, I'm not going to say this correctly, La Dame d'Escoffier.
D'Escoffier.
Oh, close.
Yeah, Les Dames d'Escoffier, which is a organization that started many, many years ago. I think the first chapter was in New York, and they're all over the country, and they're international. And Nashville started their chapter, I want to say maybe 8 years ago, 6, 7, 8 years ago. They became a chapter, and so I was part of the beginning chapter, a charter member. And it's basically women, professional women in culinary industry, culinary and hospitality.
Okay.
So now the membership has grown quite a bit because they have new members every year. About 3 or 4 years in, the Nashville chapter hosted the yearly conference, and it's been their most successful conference ever in the history of
Of course.
the
Welcome to
Scomier. So
Nashville.
everybody came, and so it was great. So it's a lovely networking club, organization for women. Their whole goal is to raise money to help other women come into the hospitality and culinary industry
Okay.
through scholarships and things like that.
Okay. That's a great organization.
It really is, and you meet a lot of people. I mean, everybody's in it. Margot McCormick
Of
and
course.
Jessica,
As she
and
should be.
all women in this city that are culinary professionals.
Hmm. I can only imagine that the conversations are really great when y'all get together.
Yes,
Yeah.
they really are, and not only conversations, but they all know how to have fun. So it can be a little wild.
Nice. Nothing wrong with that, right?
No.
So going back to your history about coming to Nashville, your roots are New York, but you're from an Italian family, I've taken
Yes.
it?
I was born in Brooklyn, and when I was young, around 7 years old, we moved to Long Island, which is a suburb of New York City, about an hour away. Italian American. All of my grandparents are from Italy.
Okay.
So I grew up with Italian food, Italian American food, Italian food, between Sicilian and sort of Naples style cooking.
Gotcha.
And then when I was an undergrad, I lived for a year in Rome. And so when I got face to face with the actual cooking in Italy, you learn a lot more, and you see it's different.
Sure.
Italian American cooking and Italian cooking
Absolutely.
really have a lot of differences, and I love both. But every time I'm in Italy, all I want to do is learn what people are cooking at home in Italy.
Sure.
And so I'm lucky enough to get those opportunities.
And we're going to come back to that because I want to know more about what you think about those differences.
Yeah. In Italy, they are very ingredient driven. So if it's not in season, they're not cooking it. Even where their meats come from, and they're very, very conscious of sourcing. Like certain meats, where were these animals brought up? What were they eating? What's the difference in taste between these animals brought up in the mountains and these animals brought up near the seaside? What were they eating? The herbs that they were eating. They pay attention to all of that. And certain cheeses go with certain things, and certain pasta shapes go with certain sauces.
Right.
And they don't cross over. So it's much more traditional and much more important. And shopping. People don't go stuff their freezers and do big shops at supermarkets. They'll go to the butcher. They're going to go to the produce person. They're going to go to the little grocery to get their, canned things or whatever they need that way, and basically shop for that evening and basically cook what's available that day. So it's a different way of looking at things, and not a lot of, we think of Italian cooking here as lots of garlic and abundance and abundance. It's not true there. I mean, garlic is not used a lot there. It's used.
Really?
Yes. It's used, but you have to go further south.
Okay.
North of Rome, it's rarely used and very, very, very limited. It'll be in there to flavor the dish, but then you take it out, just to give it a flavor, not to be overbearing.
I love it.
Yeah.
Now we're talking about my kind of cooking.
Yeah.
I'm not the biggest garlic fan in the world. I like the flavor, but I'm not like, I don't want it to punch strong punches.
And then you live with it for 2 days,
Right. Neat. We could talk about this cooking more.
Yeah.
So, Paulette, before immersing yourself into the food world and deep into the kitchen, you were in the music business.
Yeah.
Or maybe simultaneously, maybe not one before the other.
Oh, yeah, totally. Let's say after, actually. Music came later.
Okay.
Because when I came down here, I really didn't know anything about country music at all. I'm telling you, in New York, I don't even think they have a country music radio station. But anyway.
You should go back and try open one.
No. So I tried to learn it when I got here. But my partner, Dwayne, who has been in music his entire life. I mean, he used to play with Van Morrison, and he wrote with Kate Taylor, James Taylor's sister, and they recorded together.
Oh, wow.
That kind of stuff. He's been in music his whole life. So we have our own history of how we got together, but he came down to be with me in 2009, a year after I got here. And I don't know how to get the workings of this because gets a little complicated. We ended up singing together. Okay, I never sang before.
Okay.
He was a drummer. He was in about 5 or 6 different bands in Nashville when he got here. He was like all over the place. But he also plays guitar and he also plays ukulele.
Hmm.
And so I used to write for the theater. And I'm sorry, this is kind of a
No. I love a good story.
I used to be a writer. Writing was one of my things. I used to write screenplays and I used to write theatrical plays. And one of the plays that I wrote 2 songs in the play because it was about jazz musicians and these 2 young girls who wanted to get involved, but they were only 14. So my first draft of it, I used Lover Man or Where Can You Be, and I had to get permission. I decided I'm going to not get permission. I'm just going to write 2 songs. So I didn't know what I was doing, but I wrote 2 songs. The play got a production in Indianapolis. I just sang the song on a cassette tape. That's how long ago it was.
Right.
And sent it to the actors, and that's how they knew the song. And they sang it a cappella.
I've done it that way my life. Yes.
Yeah, right?
Yes. Exactly. Same thing.
So Dwayne and I are here. We're going to music, going here, and I said, "Oh, I should play you these 2 songs that I wrote for a play." And I played him the cassette, and he looked at me and said, "We have to do those songs." I said, "What do you mean we have to do them? You're the musician." "No, we got to do them," because I was singing it a cappella on the thing, so he heard me sing. We worked it out. He figured out the music on the guitar, did those songs. We started pulling in some other covers and some other songs he'd written years ago, and we started building up a catalog. Then we started playing out, and we've been playing out since 2012, and now we're playing all over the place. And now I'm a musician.
Ta-da. And why wouldn't you be?
I never was before. And we call ourselves Duet. He's Duane, and I'm Paulette, and we put it Duett.
Perfect.
And
Perfect.
so we figured
Clever.
It had to be kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
Clever.
that's where our music got into the mix.
Oh, cool. So where are y'all playing?
So we play at 615 Chutney,
Okay.
Indian restaurant,
Which we love.
and we play at Brown's Diner. We've had the spot of first Sunday of the month in the afternoon for the last 10 years. So we're always there. And we also partnered with this organization, Music for Seniors. And I know you mentioned.
We're going to come back to that one too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So we do a lot of playing out for senior groups and independent living and that kind of stuff. Because some of our covers are like 50s and 60s radio classics. So they just love it. They sing along. They really get involved. It's really cool.
That's great. And for anyone who's watching, who's never been to Brown's Diner, it's a Nashville institution. And I mean that in every way. It's the best cheeseburger in town. Always has been. Well, Rotier's kind of right up there with them, but we no longer have a Rotier's. So it's a Brown's Diner's, not to be confused with Jack Brown's, but Brown's Diner, which is over off of 21st.
Right, Blair and 21st.
Blair and 21st.
And diner is almost a misnomer. Now
it's a trailer.
Now they serve breakfast. They're open at 7 a.m. They serve breakfast all day. They do that too. But for music, it's been a real music institution.
Yes.
It really has.
Yeah.
I mean, Everly Brothers hanging out there and all kinds of people. And
everybody.
Yeah.
I would say throughout the years. Cool. That's awesome. So you did mention, and we were talking about music for seniors, too, playing with those guys. And I know Rob Jack. I know Sarah, who founded that organization. Mm-hmm. She and I used to work at Oasis Center together while she was doing her master's work. So I've known Sarah for a long, long, long time.
Oh, she's a dynamo.
She's a dynamo. And so is Rob. So great joy. So tell me more about how you got involved with them.
Well, actually, we met Sarah through another friend of ours, Kathy Chiabola. Do you know her?
Do not.
Anyway, she's a singer in town. And we met Sarah just when she had just started this. But so we met her in a social setting, and then we heard about it more and more. And we knew that we had these kind of senior time zone songs that we love to do. So we contacted them, and they had us do a performance at one of their events, and they said, "Oh, come on, join us," So they book us, a couple of times a month, and we go to different. Basically, Bellevue has just become. There's so many places here to go and do music for senior groups. So So we've been doing that since 2015.
Yeah.
And it's
Okay.
really, really fun. It's really fun. We really put on a show.
So Sarah Martin McCall is what I'm talking about. So I'm going to say hello to Sarah in case she's watching. And there was also one of our former board members, Janet McMahon. She does a lot of work in playing music with senior
Okay.
citizens around Bellevue. So y'all probably bop into each other once or may.
Interesting.
She's very interesting. She also, Janet's one of those. She actually toured with Roy Orbison back in the day, and
Oh, fun.
so she knew all the Roy Orbison family and things. So she's an incredible person to talk to.
Great.
She also wrote a musical for us as we did the 9/11 event a few years ago. So she's also a
Wow.
musical playwright as well. All right here in Bellevue. I mean, hey, who knew, right? So let's add a few more layers to this whole story.
Okay, go
So
ahead.
that you're also a visual artist. You're a painter.
Yes, I'm a painter. I'm a painter. It's always such a strange thing to actually say.
It was hard for me to say that for a long time.
If you paint,
Yeah,
you know, because in writing it's the same thing. If you're a writer, then that must mean you write. You're not a writer if you never go to the desk. But if you're a painter, if you're painting, and I'm painting.
You are. I saw it when I came in.
Yeah, thank you. And so I started that. It's something I've always wanted to do, and it just took me a while to come to. I've been around art my entire life. My uncle, who was killed in World War II, so we're talking about back then, his mentor was Yasuo Kuniyoshi, who's a established, you know, his work is in the Museum of Modern Art in New York. In fact, that's one of his prints there, so it's an old lithograph. Anyway, so I've been around his art, and then my mom did a lot of painting, and she painted like freehand murals in our house and stuff like that. And then I got this work where I was writing. Well, I did a lot of art history classes in college too. But I used to write for museums. I used to write their audio tours for exhibitions. So I had to work with a lot of curators to really dissect paintings and sort of direct the viewer what to look for and what to find and where the setting is in history and all that kind of stuff. So I love art. And so I jumped in and tried it. And I really didn't have formal training for actually doing it. But I was a great lover of naive and primitive art. So I gave myself that okay. And that's sort of the direction that I go in when I paint.
Well, it's lovely. I love your color and your palettes and your subject. My art mentor, Susan Scaletta, is also Italian, so
interesting.
I'm having an Italian invasion right here in my life. So yeah, I love it.
Good kind of invasion.
It's good stuff. It's always good stuff. So now I'm going to shift gears one more time. So you've talked about your experience in New York City and cooking there, and so after you came to Nashville, what's the word I'm looking for? Where'd you go from there?
Yeah. Well, I was still writing.
Evolve. That was the word I was looking for. How did you evolve once getting into Nashville?
I was still writing for museums, and I actually did an audio guide for the Hermitage, Andrew Jackson's Hermitage. So I was lucky for the company I worked for that I was right here. Otherwise, I'd travel around the country. But there's a group in town called Italian for Fun, and it used to be run by Patty Franklin. And I don't know if you know her.
No.
But she's a woman who, I forget where she's from, but she lived in Italy for like 20 years. So she's a fluent Italian speaker, and she teaches Italian language. And I found her out as soon as I got here. And so I met her, and then through her met all kinds of people and what's going on with Italians in Nashville. There's a lot of them here. So
there is.
Lots of different organizations.
Yeah.
So Patty said to me, she says, look, I have a guy who's doing Italian wine tasting. I'm doing Italian language. Why don't you teach Italian cooking? And I'm like, okay, but where am I going to do this? And she said, I don't know, you figure it out. So I lived in a condo in River Plantation. And I said, well, I'm just going to try it. And I'm going to model it after the classes I did in New York. But it's going to be small because we're in a small place. And so she gave me her list to start. So I advertised to them.
Well, that's cool.
Yes, well, she's a very generous person, and what really wants everyone to get connected, you know. And so a few people would come, and then it was a word of mouth kind of thing. And then I would put out classes for the season, and they would fill up in the first day, you know. So I was doing a lot out of my house, a lot more than I do today over at Green Door. once a week, Wednesday night, Saturday afternoons,
It's a lot of work.
It was a lot. It was a lot, but I was into it, and people were really into it, and so my following really grew, and people love it. I mean, the people who were doing it with me when I was back in the condo, when we came here, they were like, "Oh wow, we have all this space. It's not that big, but if compared to the other place, and now at Green Door is way bigger." And some of them even say, "I kind of liked it when it was more intimate."
Just can't suit some people, can you?
But everyone still comes to classes, which is so cool.
I love the space at Green Door. It's really beautiful.
It really is.
I thought it was very, just it was a nice environment all the way around.
Yeah. It's comfortable to be there, even if there's a nice group like we had, about 12 people, and it's pretty, and I love that you get to cook in this room, and then you come into this lovely dining room, and it's a great spot.
Cool. So tell me about your philosophy of cooking and food. How would you summarize your approach to it?
Okay. I would say, first of all, I'm not a perfectionist. I really can't get into that. And I really never choose recipes that are too fussy or have way too many ingredients. I'm always thinking in terms of...
I noticed that.
Oh, good.
I love that.
I'm thinking in terms of cooks, coming and trying to learn something. And if you're going to get into this big, complicated thing, and I don't think you need to have really good food.
I don't either.
From all the experiences I've had in Italy, I could see it. I mean, you just need great ingredients, and it's easy to put something together. If something's a little bit involved, then it's a little technique, well, then it's fun to learn. But I want to just always keep it really loose, and I don't want anybody to feel that it must be this way, that everything has to be cut exactly like this. And, it's, for me, the hands of the cook. I love if you have let's say 4 or 5 people, they each have the same recipe. If they make it, it's going to either turn out kind of the same or something different, because I think the hands of the cook really add to the recipe, makes it their own. And I want that to always happen.
Yes, exactly.
That's what excites me.
Which really is my next question. So with those underlying beliefs and philosophies around food and cooking, how do you believe it's influenced your dishes that you create and the experiences you aim to deliver to your guests?
Yes,
right?
Well, exactly that.
Yes.
Yeah, totally exactly that. And people, when they look at the menu that they're about to cook, sometimes they feel intimidated. And I can see when some people come walking into the kitchen, they're like, they see the pasta machines and they're like, and I know it's going to happen, because I know that by the end, everybody's going to be laughing and like throwing things around, and they're going to be having a great time.
It's the Italian way. Hey.
And that's got to happen.
Yes.
That's got to happen, because I think of it more of a cooking party, not a cooking class. Cooking party. Pretend that we're all friends, and most of the time we already are, and we become it in 10 minutes.
And we weren't in this group. There was a lot of new people I had not met before, so it was like. We did when we left. We all knew each other very well.
Yeah, there's something about cooking together that people make. It's easy for people to connect.
Right. Where do families hang out?
Opens the door. Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
In the kitchen.
Kitchen's the best place.
So next question: what's your comfort food?
Well, probably pasta. If pasta's not around, I'm happy to just have bread and butter and a cup of espresso.
Oh,
that's what makes me happy.
I love that. Back to simplicity again, right?
Really.
I can totally relate. Okay, pasta. Bring it on down. What kind of pasta? What is there like?
Oh, okay.
Lasagna, right? So.
No, lasagna. But there's a Sicilian dish that's in my family. In fact, I think I told this recipe to the Tennessean about 8 years ago. I'm going to tell you this word, and you're going to go. Spitzadedda.
Spitzadedda. Yeah? Deda.
Yes.
Spitzadedda. Got it.
I love getting people to say that. It's a dish that I grew up with. It's Sicilian.
Okay.
Totally Sicilian. And it's simple as anything. So you have your pieces of chicken. And I'm going to tell you the recipe because it's real fast and it's easy. You have your cut up pieces of chicken. Wings, breast, salt and pepper. Saute it. Just get it browned in a little bit of olive oil. Take it out. Chopped up onion. Let that get softened in there. Then you put the chicken back in. Salt and pepper. And a little bit of water, about this much.
Right.
Figure a deep frying pan. Cover it askew. Let it cook until the chicken's done. Boil spaghetti. Take out your chicken. Put the spaghetti in that chickeny,
Right.
flavored, oniony, little bit of olive oil, brothy stuff.
Yes. Yum.
And then
Yum.
grated cheese on top, and your chicken on the side, which is
The
kind of
spaghetti
almost
already
like
cooked, or is it cooking into all that?
the spaghetti's already cooked.
It's already cooked.
And then you just add it to there and let it heat up a little bit in there to get the flavors. It sounds like
Sounds
so
divine
like
to
that,
me.
but it is so good. It is really
No
good.
tomatoes?
No tomatoes. No tomatoes. I keep fooling around with the recipe. Sometimes I put a splash of wine or a bunch of fresh herbs on top, but what I just told you is how it's usually
That's
done.
how you do it.
And that's a real comfort food.
Kind of shifting gears just a little bit. So, how do you feel about the current food scene in Nashville?
It makes me dizzy. It really makes me dizzy. You don't know where to go first.
I know. So many choices
Yeah,
now.
there's lots of choices, and some of the menus are a little pricey. So there's a lot of places I don't even try. I like to see what people are doing with Italian food, so I might, make sure I check out that kind of thing. But I'm so strange, because if I had to pick my favorite place to eat, I would pick, like Nashville or something, or Wendell's.
Wendell's.
I love that kind of stuff. But there's so many great chef things going on. I mean, really, I don't know. It's just very exciting, and it is definitely dizzying. And I just try to keep up, but I really don't, and I can't. I don't keep up as much as I should.
What was the last new place you went to?
Ella's.
Ella's.
Yeah. Christian Prodroni, his place, and that was pretty good. That was pretty good. Frankie's in East Nashville. Talking about checking out all the Italian ones, because Frankie's comes from a very popular place in Brooklyn, and these two guys came and opened one in Nashville, in East Nashville. That was
I've
good.
got to try that.
The pasta was really good, and they have like a restaurant, and right next door they have like a pizzeria that they don't cross, but you go to the pizzeria for their pizza, and then the restaurant for the food, and then they have a little grocery with Italian products and stuff.
I will give that a try.
Yeah, I would.
I'll come and grab you. We'll go out and grab us some nosh.
Yes.
So, looking ahead, what does your future look like? What culinary endeavors do you see taking on, or you just want to keep like where you're at right now?
Yeah, pretty much. I'm hoping to do an Italian trip next year, the end of April, beginning of May.
Did you do one this year?
No, I didn't, because I did one like in October, so I didn't get it all together to do it. But I might do a trip to New York, take a group to New York.
I love that as well.
October. To like check out all my favorite places, because I haven't been there in so long. I mean, I've been to visit, but I don't know like the latest stuff. But so I've decided I'm going to take everybody to see like the real old standards. The ones
I would love.
really
I'm in.
And some of the new stuff.
Yeah.
But then I think the beginning of May next year, I'm going to go back to Venice, but also with a few days in Padua, which is the town right outside of Venice, which is a great little city to see.
Nice. Lovely. I'm in. Anything else you would like our viewers in closing to know about chef, musician, artist, writer Paulette?
Gee, I don't know. I'm just trying to, I think of myself as a supreme dabbler, because of all these things that I do, I feel like I'm doing them well, but I'm like, I want to do them better. And I keep, trying to work. And I still want to go back to my writing. I still want to keep painting. I still want to be cooking. And then I'm gardening. And then the music, we keep expanding that. And we keep, writing new songs and doing other stuff to get the band around and everything. So I don't know. It's kind of basically more of the same.
Yeah.
And just keep getting better at it.
Sure. And we can edit here. You have a copy of your cookbook?
Yes.
Bring it.
Oh, okay. Where do I have it?
I was going to bring mine with me, and I've left it laying on the table.
Yeah. Yeah. I should have it right. This is my tape to green door packages. Okay.
I left mine laying right on the dining room table. So in closing today, I want to thank you so much for your time. I've loved every moment. I also want to let you guys know about this book written by Chef Paulette called The Easy Italian Cookbook. I have a copy. You should too. I'm sure people can find this on your website.
Yes,
To
on my website,
purchase copies, or also Amazon or anywhere.
Barnes and Noble, wherever, Parnassus, yeah.
Yeah, it's a lovely cookbook, and she'll show you the simplicity of how you can cook really great Italian foods. I've already started cooking out of mine, so I'm enjoying it already.
I'm so glad.
So her website is chefpaulette.net, and we'll put that on our information as well. It's been delightful.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I've enjoyed spending the day with you, and look forward to much more of it. Much more conversations to come forward to, after all of this. So loving it.
Okay.
So have a great day. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you.